Hello. Thought I'd take a minute to express to you why I favor the lifts I do. I've got over the last 7 or 8 years, about 8 years ago, my son told me, he said, "Dad, you should buy a lift." And so I said, "Oh, that's probably a good idea." So I did. I bought a lift. The first lift I bought was an Atlas 2-post. Very nice lift, really liked it. And I also, at the time, got a really good deal on a rotary 2-post lift, really liked it. In fact, I still own it. Of those two lifts, I really like the Atlas I like it the most. It's a very good lift. When we moved, I ended up selling the Atlas with the home because the people who bought the home said, "Oh, we really want your lift, yeah, all that." So we sold it with the house. But I brought the rotary out here where we live now, and we did not have the garage back here. So I put the rotary up in the house garage, and this car you can see right here on my 4-post is a 67 Cougar that I've had since high school, and I am restoring that car. Love that car. In fact, if you look at the bottom of it here, it is absolutely gorgeous, coming along really, really well. Really happy with it. But I needed a place to store this car. So I put the rotary up in my house garage and got it working, and put this car above, raised it up in the garage, and put my Corvette here underneath that car, place to store it. Beautiful little car. And then I put my Model A, 30 Model A, next to it. So I had a place to keep them. Then last spring, I built this garage. We had this garage built. And so I bought a 4-post bend pack, which is the one I knew about, the one I had studied. In fact, a friend of mine where we used to live had a bend pack 2-post, which I think my Atlas was nicer, but it's just me. So I bought this bend pack, and I put my Cougar up on it, started working on it again. Then I learned from Vice Grip Garage and Derek with Vice Grip Garage about the wildfire lifts, and which I am so grateful that I learned. This is such an incredible lift. I love this lift. If you look at the differences, let's look at the wildfire here. Derek, if you listen to his videos, he talks about this. This is the channel, the post, 4 of them, that they use for their locks. A primary lock here, and there's a secondary lock up in there as well. And this post is really, really solid. It's probably 1/4 inch steel. And it's just, there's no way that this is going to come down. This is just solid as could be. If you look at the wildfire, or the bend pack lift here, you can hear the difference in the channel. You can hear how much cheaper, how much narrower this is. This is probably 1/8 inches if I fill it, yeah. And the lock back in there that's not part of the channel, but is in the channel, you see how that wiggles. It's just not as solid. They've got their locks up in there that are kind of like the wildfire, but they're not as big. This is not anywhere near the support of the wildfire. The wildfire is a lot bigger and a lot more solid. There's no way that that's coming down. One of the other things I really do not like about the bend pack, and a lot of the lifts out there have this, in order to lower the lift, you have to attach air. You have to have the air on. Then you can push the release button here and the lift will come down. Now, I have air in this garage. Of course I do. And I can hook it up and I can let it down. The thing I don't like about that is it's just one more step. One more thing when you're busy restoring a car or working on a car. It's one more thing. Why do you want to have another thing that you have to do? Just the wildfire lifts, if you want to let them down, you don't have to have air. In fact, I'll show you here. We'll walk over and look at it. You raise it up a little bit like all of the lifts. You pull this handle right here and you let the lift down here. No problem. You don't have to go to that extra step of having air, of stringing your air over, hooking it up to the lift, and getting it to let it down. I do really like this function in the Wildfire and the bend pack, this rolling bridge jack. I think that anybody who buys a lift should have a rolling bridge jack. That's a great thing. But I don't like the air. I don't like having to have the air on it to let it down. I don't like how cheaply and flimsy the support beams are. They're not near as solid as the ones from Wildfire. That's the reason why I like the Wildfire better. I talked to them about earthquakes. We live in an area that can have earthquakes. I didn't want my beautiful cars smashed because we have an earthquake and the lift comes down. Talked to Robbie with Wildfire, and he told me that they have lifts up in Alaska, and that they have a lot more possibility of earthquakes up there than we do here. And they've never had a lift come down. They've never had one collapse because of an earthquake. They had one apparently that tipped a little bit, didn't come down, but it was only because the owner, the guy that put it together, didn't install it correctly, didn't do it right. So I love the Wildfire lifts. In fact, if it was my choice, I learned about bend pack for years ago, and I bought this one because I knew about bend pack. But if I'd have known about Wildfire at the time, there'd be a Wildfire sitting right there. In fact, I would probably trade this one for a Wildfire if I could. This one's pretty much new, really a nice lift. That one, oh, what an incredible lift. That one is the best. That is my choice, and I would take it clearly over any of them. The Atlas was, in my opinion, the better lift than the Rotary. The Wildfire is better than the bend pack, but the Wildfire is clearly the best one of all of them that I've owned. Wonderful lift. So thanks for your time.